Hello all, I'm Hyun Nam and I will present about the analysis of process-based assessment at small elementary school. The present will have a following order. In the introduction, I will discuss the necessity of this study. In the theoretical framework section, I will examine the theoretical background of process-based assessment and review the previous study. Then I will discuss the method, result, interpretation, discussion, and conclusion. Let's look at the introduction. The importance of assessment is emerging in the field of English education, which has given a lot of emphasis on the improvement of teaching pedagogy, and the paradigm shift for assessment has led to the implementation of process-based assessment with the implementation of the 2015 revised curriculum. In the field of elementary English education, there have been studies on the development, application, and perception of process-based assessment, which are the main issues of the 2015 revised curriculum. However, there are insufficient research studies on how process-based assessment in actual classroom context reflect the paradigm change. Moreover, there is a lack of study on how teacher-made assessments are produced and conducted in particular contexts such as 읍 and 면 area. In Chungcheongbuk-do, where A area is located, there are 188 elementary schools with 6 or fewer classes, accounting for more than 70% of the total number of elementary schools. Meanwhile, small-scale elementary schools have favorable conditions to reflect the purpose of process-based assessment well and implement. Due to its characteristic of the small number of students per class, which is often an issue when implementing process-based assessment. Therefore, this current study attempts to analyze the English language evaluation plan of a small elementary school based on the elements of process-based assessment suggested in the 2015 revised curriculum to determine whether it is appropriately implementing the purpose of the process assessment and to discuss relevant implications. Next, I will present the previous research related to process-based assessment. Regarding elementary English and process-based assessment, some studies have developed a process-based assessment model. Other studies also have developed a process-based assessment and have applied to actual classroom. And some other studies have investigated perception of members toward process-based assessment. In relation to English education in small-scale elementary school, there have been studies that explore perception of homeroom teachers toward English education in 읍 and 면. The reviewed literature has shown that teachers and institutions have relatively high awareness of the importance of process-based assessment. However, there are difficulties in actual implementation of process-based assessment. In such a situation, it is important to understand how process-based assessment is actually being practiced and conducted in the school context to maximize the effect of process-based assessment while reflecting the essence of process-based assessment. In particular, identifying the level of implementation of process-based assessment will provide insight into challenges and problems of implementation of process-based assessment and suggest future directions. A Delphi survey was conducted for educational evaluation and curriculum experts and field teachers to explore the meaning and characteristics of process-based assessment and to identify factors for operation and directions for improvement, and the conceptualization of process-based assessment was as follows. Process-based assessment refers to an assessment to support the growth and development of students by providing appropriate feedback through the collecting characteristics and changes of students in the process of teaching and learning from various angles that is based on the achievement standard of the curriculum linked the assessment with the instruction. This slide shows the key characteristics of process-based assessment. In this current study, each school's process-based assessment plan was collected through the information disclosure data in the school alert information, and cases were analyzed for each school based on the analysis criteria presented above. Through the analysis, this study examined whether the process-based evaluation plan of a small elementary school was being implemented according to the purpose by utilizing the main characteristic of the process-based assessment suggested by the Ministry of Education. The Ministry of Education is operating an Internet information disclosure system through the School Alert website in order for parents and the public to easily find out the main information about school education. If there is a change in the published evaluation plan, the plan can be revised after deliberation by the Academic Performance Management Committee. In other words, although the site of the evaluation cannot be directly seen through examining the published evaluation plan, it is possible to indirectly grasp understanding of the school evaluation activity and classes. Among the 25 elementary schools in Area A, 5 schools were selected for this study, excluding branch schools and private schools. The selected school was small elementary school with 6 classes or fewer and located in Up and Myeon area, while schools that are located in Dong area, a small school with 6 classes or fewer using the same textbook. The table displays the characteristics of selected 5 schools. The evaluation plan of each school included in the analysis was collected through the school notification site as of September 1st, 2021, and the evaluation plan for the first semester of 2021, which was loaded at this time, was the subject of analysis of this study. In the evaluation plan of the 5 selected elementary schools located in Area A, it was observed that process-based assessment was implemented by using the terms process-based assessment and learning self-evaluation. It was also confirmed that process-based assessment has been implemented through the school education plan information. After confirming the published evaluation plan, the detailed information of teachers and students related to each English department process-based assessment plan was confirmed through a wire phone call with the evaluation officer of each school. Content and information that was not confirmed by evaluation officer were confirmed through additional call with the teachers in charge and the homeroom teachers. The detailed characteristics of the target schools are shown in the table below. In this current study, each school process-based assessment plan was collected through the information disclosure data in the school alert information, and cases were analyzed for each school based on the analysis criteria presented before. In order to analyze the process-based assessment plan of each school, the characteristics of the process-based assessment suggested by the Ministry of Education were used as the analytic standard, and the detailed analytic criteria as follows. Is the assessment based on achievement standard criteria? Is the assessment conducted during class? And is the assessment related to teaching and learning? Is the learner's performance process the target of assessment? Is the assessment comprehensive, including cognitive and affective domain of knowledge, skills, and attitude? Are various assessment models being used in consideration of purpose and content of the assessment? Are the assessment results being used for growth and development of learners? The evaluation plan of elementary school A consists of subject, domains, achievement standard, units, assessment content, assessment criteria, assessment method, assessment period, and the assessment tool. In the writing area was presented together. The specific examples are as follows. The evaluation plan for elementary school A was written based on the achievement standard and consists of assessment in listening, speaking, reading, and writing area. Observational assessment, practical assessment, picture cards, sentence card, and assessment paper were used as the assessment method and tool, and the assessment period was suggested during the semester. Through examining the assessment method and tool, it was found that the target of some method or tool was learner's performance process. However, it was uncertain whether the assessment result feedback were used for learner's development. The assessment criteria were present in the 3 stages, and the assessment element for the affective domain were not included in the assessment area or detailed criteria. The assessment sheet for writing skills was present as a short answer type paper-based assessment. The evaluation plan of the rest of the school is the same as school A. It wasn't much different. Meanwhile, English class elementary school B are conducted twice a week by an English conversation instructor and once a week by cooperation of native English teachers and homeroom teachers. However, the homeroom teacher was in charge of the assessment plan and performance. Thus, it was difficult to see that assessment and class take place simultaneously. As you can see in this table, it was uncertain whether in-class assessment was carried out in most of the school, and also it was found that the assessment was not comprehensive at all schools. The following slide, I will discuss the rest of in more detail. This current study attempts to examine the practice level of process-based assessment in elementary school English department through investigating cases of small elementary schools with 6 classes or fewer in Up and Myeon or Dong area. Accordingly, the English language process-based assessment plan of 5 elementary schools located in A area were reviewed, and the reflection level of characteristic of the process-based assessment were examined. All of the evaluation plan for the first 5 schools in Area A review above were assessment based on achievement standard using 3 stages of assessment criteria and directly assessed performance. There was no significant difference in the content, assessment method, and assessment elements, and it could be inferred that the assessment plan proceeded with similar content and method. On the other hand, it was observed that the evaluation plan of all 5 schools did not reflect the main characteristic of process-based assessment. Rather, they were similar to the conventional assessment framework. This analysis of evaluation plan for process-based assessment at small elementary school revealed many issues and problems. First of all, the analysis of evaluation plan at 5 small elementary schools in Area A revealed that the assessment result feedback was not used for the development of students. Different from previous assessment, the process-based assessment explicitly emphasized the in-class use of feedback. Since this study only reviewed the evaluation plan, it cannot be concluded the assessment result feedback not used in the actual school site. However, considering the fact that when there is a change after disclosure of the evaluation plan and it is revised through consultation with the Academic Performance Management Committee and disclose the evaluation plan. It can be interpreted as the evaluation results are not used or considered as an important element. Further, considering the reality that there is no field for inserting the utilization of assessment results in the current NICE system, improvement of external factors that prepare institutional devices to utilize the assessment result should be acted upon first. And then next. Second, it was found that there was no assessment of the affective domain. Examine of the domain and the detailed criteria of assessment of all 5 schools revealed that the assessment of the affective domain was not carried out. The evaluation plan of the 5 elementary schools did not reflect the assessment of affective domain such as attitude, interest, and confidence. Considering the characteristic of elementary learners, the affective domain is as important as cognitive ability. It is an important requirement that should not be overlooked in the process-based assessment linked to learning. Third, it is necessary to use various assessment methods with sincere consideration of the purpose and content of the assessment in order to increase the validity of the evaluation. The validity of the assessment can be secured through the agreement between the assessment purpose and the assessment method. Although most schools included observational assessment, it is difficult to say that they have been properly utilized as an assessment tool suitable for the purpose of assessment and the characteristic of the task. According to a survey study by O, 60 of elementary school teachers who participated in this survey answered that they had experience in conducting assessment using English performance assessment material provided by publishers of certified textbooks. Considering the previous study and the result of the current study analysis, it can be inferred, although the paradigm of assessment has changed due to the implementation of the 2015 revised curriculum, many teachers indiscriminately use the performance assessment material provided by publishers which do not reflect the characteristic of process-based assessment. On the result previous study, I would like to suggest following. First, we suggest implementing a dynamic assessment as a process-based assessment for English education at small elementary school. Or suggest a dynamic assessment as a concrete practical action for process-based assessment and examine the differences when implementing a dynamic assessment between an experimental group and control group. The result revealed a significant change in the development of writing ability of the experimental group, and the average differences between the 2 groups were large while the dynamic assessment continued. This can be inferred as the ability to run proficiently based on the teacher's scaffolding as the dynamic assessment of student progress in the long term indicate that dynamic assessment needed to be implemented consistently, not on a one-time basis. In addition, the results of the pre- and post-survey show that dynamic assessment can be effective for teacher-student interaction in classrooms The student asks a question to the teacher without hesitation in a free atmosphere. Dynamic assessment is a tool that enables learner-centered education. It helps students to have a positive perception about learning by providing specific scaffolding according to student achievement level. Further, dynamic assessment can provide training and guidance from students learning based on the information the teacher has gained in the process of providing scaffolding, which has many possibilities for resolving the problem of process-based assessment shown in this study. It also agrees with the opinion that the characteristics of dynamic assessment go well with the characteristics of elementary English, which emphasize the learning process. And second, it is necessary to improve the assessment method so that the characteristics of elementary learner can be considered and the assessment suitable for the purpose can be accomplished. Language education and tests for young learners should be different from those of adult learners. Effective to use a lot of non-verbal materials such as picture rather than giving them the test information in written format. It is appropriate to emphasize the content and process that young learners are able to perform rather than test content and process they cannot do well. It is important to construct English language evaluation plan with understanding of characteristics of young learners and include elements that assessment the effective domain. To do this, it is essential for dedicated person in English assessment to have expertise about the subject and young learners. Even given the distinct characteristics of elementary school, it is imperative to provide institutional strategies that require teachers with English degree to be in charge of English education and assessment, to form collaborative research community with teachers situated in similar but unique contexts, and especially to expand the training opportunity regarding English language assessment. Finally, it is necessary to improve external factors such as reduction of administrative work, improvement of educational conditions, and improvement of the assessment system suitable for process-based assessment in order to operate the process-based assessment effectively in small elementary school. This study focused on examining the reality of process-based assessment implementation through the disclosure process-based evaluation plan for the English language of 5 small elementary schools in Area A. In particular, the study focused on investigating the process-based assessment implementation level and identifying the current status and problem of process-based assessment. For future research, qualitative studies are necessary to find causes of and resolutions for the problem of process-based assessment found in this study through conducting in-depth interviews with teachers in charge of English classes and assessment. Further, action research that examines the effectiveness of dynamic assessment in small elementary school is needed. Thank you.